Is it a review? I don't know. It's more of a sort of review stroke thoughts and feelings from within the old heart. Today I am doing my first ever official book review. Today's book, I'm really excited about this because I have recently discovered it. And when I say recently discovered it, I mean I've always known its existence, I've always been aware of it, but I've never read it, to my horror and to my shock. That book was The Catcher in the Rye by J.D Salinger. I know. Why haven't you read that book, Elizabeth? Elizabeth is the name I'm obviously using because I'm in trouble. Why has it taken you this long to pick it up? Why on earth would you not have read this unbelievable novel? I know, right? So I thought I would. So I read this over my recent holiday. When I got on the plane, I got it out and started reading it, and a lady came up to me and said, "Oh, have you not read that before?" I said, "No." She goes, "Heavy book for holiday reading." And I went, "Oh, okay." I've read the first page and the first page only. She's like, "It's brilliant, it's awesome." So I was like, "Okay, cool." The first thing about this book, if you've not read it, if you have, bear with me, I'm sure, I'm very sure that I would love to hear your thoughts on the book as well and see if they're similar to the way I feel and the way I think about it. So if you've not read the book, the first thing you'll notice is there is no information. The cover is pretty scarce anyway, especially in today's publications. You've literally just got the beautiful sort of typography. Nothing gives anything away. There's no synopsis, there's no prologue, there's no nothing. All you have is the title. So to give you a little bit of a background about this, this was first published in 1951. It was incredibly controversial. A lot of use of profanities, bad language, questionable language, and references to adolescents discovering sexuality and things like that. So at the time, back in the 50s, it was deemed quite inappropriate and sort of really controversial and like, oh my God. These days, however, a little bit more accepted, although I've heard that it's still banned in some places, which I just find crazy. It's like phenomenal in terms of how much it sells. I think it's 250,000 copies are sold a year or something like that. I'll have to check. I'll put the facts in the description below just in case I ramble with anything. In a nutshell, the themes of this book is all about growing up. We follow Holden Caulfield as he's sort of just been kicked out of his school, Pensy, and you meet a whole host of characters, so some of his school friends, his teachers, his relationships and girls that he lusts after, adolescence and teenage angst. On the surface, that's what you think, sort of, you know, coming to terms with how you are as a teenager, understanding yourself and growing up, but actually there's darker themes here. This is essentially a character who's losing his mind. For me, it's just hormone crazy. It's like his whole brain is erupting, losing almost his battle with reality. He can't necessarily distinguish between what's real and what's not, and it feels disastrous. I have to warn you, it feels disastrous for quite a while. Obviously, you know nothing about it when you start, so you don't have any sort of preconceptions, you don't have any sort of, you know, ideas about what you're about to read, whether, oh, is it going to be this? Am I going to form a relationship with this person? It's just blank canvas. Straight away, my first observation, it could have been written yesterday. I mean, some of the language that's used in the opening chapters and the sort of way it's described, it feels so modern still. It hooked me straight away. I sort of went and checked to find out when it was published because I mean, I knew it was old, but I literally felt that someone could have written it about a character today. So the lead character, or the main character, Holden Caulfield, a 16-year-old, although when we first meet him, he's actually talking to us from I guess you would call it a mental institute. That's probably not the politically correct way of saying it, but he's under observation, should we say, and he is telling us the story of his 16-year-old experience. So immediately I felt myself completely relating to him. I was like, oh, I remember feeling this way, and sort of everyone was against me. I had a sort of a problem with something here and something there, and you know, would observe everything that was going on around me. And I mean, he observes everything. It's like no detail is missed. It's so descriptive, and the way that it's written is just, you know, you're there with him. You actually start to feel like you are him, and I think that's why I related so much, because I felt for a while that I was talking to my 16-year-old self. However, the moment I continued on with the book and sort of got more and more involved, I realised that actually I didn't really like the fact that I was seeing myself within Holden, because on paper is quite a frustrating character. He's got a problem with everybody, everything, and it's never his fault. Obviously, he hasn't sort of woken up at this stage to realise that things are not, you know, the problem might actually be with him rather than with everybody else. But everything, every girl, every boy, every person they're out to get him. They're out to destroy him almost. And you start to go on this journey of, it's a descent into madness, essentially. And, you know, you feel yourself going with them. And by the time the book's sort of coming to an end, you're fearful of what's going to happen to him. But also, for me, I was fearful of, why has this become such a big, why does this feel so real to me? Why do I feel these feelings? And I think that's what this book does so beautifully, is you question everything. You're left with so many questions, like what happened to Holden? Where did he go? What's he doing? And I just think that's just such a mark of, just a sign of a brilliant book, when you can't stop thinking about it and you can't stop wondering about the protagonist and what's happened to him. There is a passage in this book that describes love, I would say love, or maybe lust, teenage love, in such a way that when I read it, I had to stop for a while and really, I just kept reading it. I was like, wow, J.D Salinger, you get the medal for voicing everything I ever wanted to voice in my songs, because, oh, it's so lovely. So I don't want you to get the idea that she was a goddamn icicle or something, just because we never necked or horsed around much. She wasn't. I held hands with her all the time, for instance. That doesn't sound like much, I realise, but she was terrific to hold hands with. Most girls, if you hold hands with them, their goddamn hands dies on you, or else they think they have to keep moving their hand all the time, as if they were afraid they would bore you or something. Jane was different. We'd get into a goddamn movie or something, and right away we'd start holding hands, and we wouldn't quit till the movie was over, and without changing position or making a big deal out of it. You never even worried, with Jane, whether your hand was sweaty or not. All you knew was you were happy. You really were. I just think, obviously, the book itself, if you read it or have read it, you'll know it's not necessarily, obviously, romantic sexual tones to the whole thing, and it's a big part of it. Take everything apart, as in, you know that Holden has a good heart. You know that he actually has issues with his head, and things are happening to him that he can't necessarily control. Because when somebody writes like that, and it's just so old-fashioned. It's so lovely that somebody can just be content holding someone's hand, and that's love. And I think more people need to understand that holding hands these days is very lovely, and that can mean more than just having to, you know, snap a naked picture and God knows what else. I sound like such a grandma, I really do. I'm going to stop talking about The Catcher in the Rye now, but I hope you liked my first review. I don't know whether it's just a mashup of all my words coming out of my brain, all random thoughts, but you know, I thought I'd give it a go. I'd love to know what you think, so do let me know in the comments. Before I go, I have to share a really great Buzzfeed article with you about the 36 things you might never have known about The Catcher in the Rye. And there's lots of weird facts on there. One of them is, in 1960, a teacher in Tulsa, Oklahoma was fired. He was struck off for daring to read the novel in class, but he was reinstated. There's just lots of cool facts on there, so have a look at that article. I'll put it in the description below. But as always, thank you so much for watching. I will see you again in my next video. Please subscribe to my channel and happy reading!